Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Donatella Ponziani, ESA Downstream Gateway Officer, and I have the pleasure to welcome to the first webinar of the series Space for Twin Cities, dedicated today to digital cities, with the objective to understand the needs and trends, the synergies and best practice. The ESA Downstream Gateway is launching a digital networking initiative among municipalities all over the world, united by the same challenges and need to adopt smart and sustainable solutions for the cities of the future. Together with ESA experts, we will investigate how space-enabled solution further delay, I would like to welcome our guest today and to hand over to the moderator for this session, my colleagues, the Dr. Bianca Hirsch, who is the ESA Chief Digital Officer. Bianca, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Donatella, and good afternoon, good evening to everybody. I would like to introduce to you the panelists, the speakers of today. I'm happy to welcome them. First of all, there's Thomas Türk, who's coming from Tallinn. He is the first ever Chief of Innovation from the Municipality of Tallinn, and he holds this post since November 2018. He's leading the Innovation and Smart City program, including novel technology projects, tech community engagement, and internal innovation capacity initiatives. Before that, he worked at top senior positions in several global and national tech companies. Secondly, we have Colin Birchnell, who is from the Municipality of Glasgow, where he is the Chief Digital Officer. He's responsible for the Digital Glasgow strategy that sets out the vision for Glasgow to be among the top 20 global digital economies, recognized as one of the most innovative and pioneering smart cities in the world. Third, we have Michael Kolmer, who is from the City of Darmstadt. He's the head of the Department of Economy and Urban Development of Darmstadt. And he represents the city in numerous committees and councils, ranging from startup assistant, urban development, digital city, questions to organic food promotion. He's also a lecturer at 2 universities. Turning to my colleagues inside ESA, Mark Paganini. He is an ESA technical officer with more than 25 years of experience in the field of Earth observation. His responsibility is to elaborate innovative Earth observation applications in various fields to derive reliable, timely, and continuous information about the Earth and its environment. His main fields of expertise are the exploitation of satellite data for environmental governance and sustainable development, and last but not least, certainly urban projects. And I'm welcoming Davide Coppola. He's from the Business Application Department. Davide has been working with ESA since 2007, and he's a long-standing expert as project manager in building strategic international cooperation in a variety of fields ranging from safety to renewable energy, smart grids, and certainly cities. Looking forward to your presentations, and I am calling to the floor Thomas. Thomas, tell us what was the process for making Tallinn a great example of a digital city?
Thank you, and good afternoon from northeastern part of Europe. Digital city is a very important topic. Next slide. Yes, we have this background already, being a world famous eStonia, and we also have in Tallinn the startup communities, which are very important and well known. But the story of this digital city has also the cooperation between the national and local authorities level. And this is where we are really proud of bringing in these digital stories now to the green sector, education, health, and of course, cybersecurity. Next slide. We also, being a part for more than 5 years now, European Space Agency on a national level. But we also see it a very much ecosystem, which is consists of different cities, including Tallinn, There is also the very important part playing the science parks, and also the different events, and also companies, tech companies, which should play an important part there. And from 2 years now, we have also the Business Incubation Center based in Tallinn, and this gives us a very important role to develop the cooperation with European Space Agency. I hope my slides are visible now as I'm turning into the next slide, which is the part that we are very proud of is e-governance in Tallinn. And this is where we see the strong connection of different digital solutions with location-based solutions, with digital twin developments. And of course, we have some history already for 20 years for providing, for example, parking management solutions. But there are new ones on the development from this year, and we're really proud to show that there is also the dashboard systems or the e-democracy solutions are bringing in the new wave of digital city possibilities for everyone. And of course, this 3D is becoming more and more important, and visualization of the components of every city information. This is where Tallinn is also great. But next slide. I would like to also mention that this is not only the public sector that can make the difference or the change. There is also the companies and R&D, especially from the universities. And there is an example of you I would like to present from a company which has a brand name Cellular, which is the one Tallinn is using to monitor the geodetic height network. And especially the importance here is the accuracy and how the satellites can remotely sense areas. And of course, we also have carried out some studies about land surface temperatures and heat island effect detection. So this is where we see that the technology driven by the companies as well is really important for the cities to be part of this digital city future. Next slide. But we also discuss very much internally in the city that is there a digital city, is a smart city, but we also see it like an intelligent city, as we just received the Intelligent City of the Year award for the 2020 by the Intelligent Community Forum. And we see that it's not only about the innovative and digital services to be provided, but there will also be a backup of political support and also the smartness of the citizens, how to educate and make them more active in the communities. And that's why the local government role and action is very much dedicated to how to engage the citizens, how to provide the services that there is no more bureaucracy, but how this can be on a lower level. And of course, data management and innovative education are becoming very important for the cities. This is what we feel every day. Next slide. And for the cooperation in smart cities, we always welcome you to join the initiatives that Tallinn has taken. And from starting last year, we have this European Smart City Competence Center based in Tallinn, and it's cooperation with our very good neighbors in Helsinki. And there is also the future City of the Future professorship that started, and it will also be a good way to connect with other R&D activities into that. And of course, we see that in Tallinn that the cooperation with different interest groups of clusters and companies and institutions is also something that is based on the events as a platform. So, and I'm sure that my colleagues here will also share that the cities are very important in supporting this activities with based on these platforms. So. Thank you very much. This was my short presentation about how we see the digital city and how we see our role to play in that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Very, very enlightening. Thanks for this insight. We're turning to Colin and we're going to Glasgow. Colin, could you please provide us with an overview of the journey that your municipality has undertaken for establishing Glasgow as one of the most innovative and pioneering smart cities in the world?
Thank you, Bianca, indeed. Good afternoon, everybody. Maybe before I start to talk about the journey that we've been on with regards to smart cities, I can share some background and context to the City of Glasgow. Next slide, please. So Glasgow is Scotland's largest city. And within the city region, we have a population of close to 2 million people, which actually represents 40% of the Scottish population. And that produces an economic output of £42 billion GVA, representing 30% of the Scottish economy. Although we have a heritage in heavy industry and in particular shipbuilding, we do have now a very diverse economy in some of the sectors listed on the slide. Like most cities, we're a city that has a focus on sustainability. At the moment, we've declared a climate emergency. We've set a target neutrality target of 2030. We've recently been awarded the status of Global Green City by the United Nations. And next year, we're going to be proud hosts of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP26, which we hope will be one of the most significant since Paris. Next slide, please. We're a city of proud heritage in innovation. Some of the world-changing innovations that Glasgow's brought to the world include the pneumatic tyre, refrigeration, penicillin, the television, and the invention that started the Industrial Revolution, the steam engine. Today, we have 4 world-renowned universities, and we're currently working with those universities to build 3 innovation districts within the city to foster innovation within close geographic areas within the city. Within those innovation districts, we've got a large number of innovation centres across a number of market verticals supporting some of our key sectors. And many of those organisations provide a means of facilitating triple helix engagement between the public sector, the private sector, and the academic sector on research and innovation. So some fantastic innovation capabilities and assets within the city. In terms of space, space has become one of our fastest growing sectors within the city. Glasgow produces more satellites than any other city outside of the United States, and our sector is growing both in terms of upstream and downstream markets. To support new entrants into the market, we have a space business incubator supported by the Scottish Centre of Excellence for Space Applications. We're expecting the growth to continue to expand once the 2 new spaceports are launched in Scotland, the Shetland Space Centre and Space Hub Sutherland, over coming years. In terms of digital cities and smart cities, our journey began back in 2013 when we beat all of the other UK cities to secure a 24 million grant from the UK government to become the UK's Future Cities Demonstrator, a smart city demonstrator at scale. And during 2013-2014, we delivered a new operations centre for the city, a central command control room coordinating a range of city services. We established a big data platform that allowed us to bring in streams of data from different sources, begin to combine those data sets and analyse it, including predictive analytics. And we delivered a range of city demonstrators related to smart energy, active travel, smart mobility, and public safety. One of the demonstrators in particular was a demonstration of IoT-enabled intelligent street lighting. I can't remember if I said next slide, but the slide I want to go to next is the beyond the demonstrator slide. So since 2014, our focus has been on scaling up the learning from the Future Cities demonstrator. It's hard to put into words the impact that programme had on the city and on the city council. Yes, it taught us about the Internet of Things and big data. More importantly, though, it taught us about the potential to use these approaches, to use these technologies to completely reimagine and redesign how we deliver public services within the city and how we deliver better outcomes within the city. So one of the things we've done is we've scaled up the intelligent street lighting network. So we now have over 3,500 intelligent streetlights across the whole of the city centre. We are working with partners to deliver a smart canal in the north of the city that effectively allows us to, using sensors on the canal and predictive analytics, allows us to use the canal as a sustainable urban drainage system to better manage drainage in the north of the city to unlock land for development. The University of Glasgow, as part of their campus expansion programme, are turning a 14-acre new campus into a 5G-enabled smart campus that will be used as a living lab for smart cities technologies. And within one of our major streets within the city centre, we have a Horizon 2020 programme where we're delivering a smart street that's demonstrating a series of smart energy projects related to renewable energy, district heating, and electrical vehicle charging, including electrical vehicle charging from our intelligent street lighting network. As we move forward, more and more of our innovation will build upon some of the enabling infrastructure that we're building in the city, such as a 3D urban model of the city, the network connectivity within the city, not just 5G and broadband, but we now have within the city a 99% coverage of LoRaWAN network to provide IoT connectivity. And operationally, we've established 2 centres of excellence to make best use of the capabilities we have at our fingertips, such as a centre for data analytics that can start to drive the analytical change to transform services, and a centre for civic innovation that really enables us to engage with industry and universities on an open innovation basis, where we open up innovation challenges to the market. So hopefully from that presentation, you've got a glimpse of the city, where we've come from in terms of how our smart city experience, some of our progress. We know that we don't have the resources to become the smartest city in the world, but we do want to build on the capabilities that I've described in this presentation to become one of the most innovative, one of the most pioneering smart cities in the world. And whilst we are quite proud of what we've achieved, we're really looking forward to the future, and we really invite people from around the world to come to Glasgow and join us in that journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin. We'll certainly do that. Come and join you there. Thanks also for highlighting the point that there's a link between digital and sustainability and the aim to become more green, and that's also something that is very close to our heart at ESA. I'm turning to the next speaker, Michael Kolmer from Darmstadt. And Michael, tell us, what is the approach of Darmstadt municipality that you choose to supporting a sustainable and resilient digital development strategy? The floor is yours. We cannot hear you, Michael.
Once again, now you can hear me. Thank you, Bianca, for handing over, and thank you for having me. Me and the ESOC here in Darmstadt are connected by a long-time love affair. Therefore, it's a really great pleasure to attend this seminar. So let's switch to the second slide, please. Not everyone may be so familiar with Darmstadt. After all, with roughly 61,000 inhabitants, we are not really one of the big cities in Germany. As far as economic and scientific power is concerned, however, we are a key player and clearly the technological heart of the greater Frankfurt metropolitan area. Above all, we are of course extremely proud to have been an important ESA location for over 50 years now. And in this regard, I have this little baby for you. Maybe some of you may remember it. Today is a historic day in astronautics. Today, exactly 4 years ago, Philae landed on Churyumov-Gerasimenko, and this is the comet. But back to the digital city. Next slide, please. The Digital City project in Darmstadt was created in a special way. Darmstadt and its IT cluster took part in the Digital City competition organized by the industry association Bitkom 4 years ago, and we won. Since then, we have been a showcase city for digital solutions in Germany. Regarding the project selection, we are rigorous. An idea that only brings financial benefits to a company will not be pursued. Only projects that serve these purposes you see on the screen now will be accepted and promoted. First and foremost stand the keywords valuable, sustainable, as well as independent and ethical. But also the expectations of the population in terms of participation, transparency, and public relations shouldn't be underestimated. So let's go to the third slide. Our basis for all this is an extremely strong local ecosystem with the municipality, our utility companies, science, economy, and society. For the level of local politics, digital solutions offer great opportunities, often also quick wins, provided you have the right instruments. Besides the strong scientific basis in Darmstadt, I want to stress in this regard that the Darmstadt city administration has the largest share of public interest companies in comparison to other German cities of similar size. From housing construction to energy suppliers, from waste disposal to public transport, the silverware was never shattered in Darmstadt and now can contribute to our digital goals. So let's go to the next slide. The city is a complex, multi-layered, and also colorful ecosystems. The digital city should serve the analog one, not the other way around. That is why it's important for public acceptance to set up projects in all policy fields. Then it can reach the hearts of the people, and that's what it's all about in the end. As you see here, in Darmstadt, we have 14 fields of action in number. They represent the entire cross-section of topics of a city society, including culture, social affairs, and, for example, education. The digital city is as diverse as the real city is. It is practically impossible to number all sub-projects. All in all, we're talking about a 3-digit number. So let's go to the next slide. If we ask ourselves how space and satellite technology can support smart cities, we must first ask ourselves, what are the big issues the real European city is currently facing? I want to point out the following. The functional and urban rescue of our inner cities against the background of the COVID-19 crisis, the provision of affordable housing, the ecological mobility transition, and last but not at all, at least, the fight against climate change globally and locally in relation to the quality of life. Of these points, the first two are obviously questions that need to be solved on ground. Mobility and climate change, on the other hand, are topics in which satellite observation and communication can make essential contributions and in which ESA has a wealth of experience. It would be careless not to use it. At the same time, we have to make sure that the various technologies do not compete but complement each other. As an example, we heard this already, I would like to mention the expansion of 5G cellular networks. The slide that we are currently seeing shows a project idea of ESA DLR in the city of Darmstadt that is being discussed at the moment and will certainly be brought into action. It addresses precisely this point. It takes up the mega topic of the environment and air quality, which is wedded to traffic problems. It combines satellite data and the data from our local air sensor network. As you see, it connects different technologies. After all, it works with an approach that is deeply rooted in the DNA of both ESA and the digital city of Darmstadt in open data. From my point of view, this can become a role model for the satellite-supported smart city. So let's go to the next slide. At the end of my input, I want to do a little advertising. In the ESA Big Network, we have already been running targeted startup funding with CESA, the Center for Satellite Navigation Hesse, a joint venture between the state of Hesse, the city of Darmstadt, universities, industry. It runs since 2007. Since then, CESA's business ideas have often focused on smart city solutions. In fact, CESA startups regularly receive commercial contracts from the Darmstadt Digital City project. This is also a prime example for me, because in this way, we not only make cities a bit better, we also generate a positive economic impact, a win-win-win in the triangle ESA, industry, municipalities. You can read it at the bottom left. The next CESA hackathon, as part of Act in Space 2020, will take place tomorrow. It's really worth taking a look there digitally. So, last slide, the end. My time's up. I hope I could give you a slight impression. Everything is work in progress in Darmstadt, as everywhere. Everything grows and develops, and it will change our city in a good way. I look forward to discussing this with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. And thanks also for reminding us of the special day on the landing of Philae on Churi and from Darmstadt, from the home of ESA, where our missions come alive. Thanks very much. We're turning over to Mark Paganini from ESA's Earth Observation Program. Mark, what is the role of the Earth observation data in the achievement of sustainable and resilient digital city? The floor is yours.
Thanks, Bianca, for giving me the opportunity to present and showcase the value of Earth observation for enabling cities embrace digital transformation. We all know that with our changing world, city authorities need to put in place urban development strategies that are scientifically sound, and this cannot be achieved without access to data. Next slide, please. Earth observation data is becoming more and more important for cities. Its integrations into urban data analytics and predictive analytics, as was said by Colin, can produce a quantum leap in the capacities of the cities to achieve their development agendas. This slide shows some EU applications for urban development, starting from the urban land use and land cover maps and their changes, which often serve as a baseline for cities, going to the mapping of green areas, the monitoring of climate parameters such as air pollution or urban heat islands, the monitoring of transport infrastructures, the detections of informal settlements and waste sites, or the support to disaster risk reductions such as floods, landslides, or even structural instability of buildings. Next slide, please. Data is important, but data is also a challenge. We are entering the new era of big data, and I would like to give you the example of the European Copernicus program, which is the most ambitious Earth observation program that have ever been put in place, with a long-term data continuity, free and open data policies, and universal access. Today, the productions of the Sentinel's data amounts to about 15 to 20 terabytes of data daily. This gives you an idea of the volume of data that is produced. And the availability of such continuous data streams of satellite observations in combination with the advances in computing infrastructures and the democratizations of the processing cost offer new opportunities for cities to efficiently monitor the changes in their urban environment. But the challenge is to mobilize the data revolution for the benefits of all cities. Next slide, please. In order to deal with the large quantity of information available, we need to have a paradigm shift on how we work with these data. Rather than bringing the data to the users, we need to bring the users to the data. Hence, the emergence of cloud computing infrastructures with high processing and storage capabilities co-located with large collections of Earth observation data. These exploitation platforms act as a sort of enabling technology, bringing multiple benefits for cities. They simplify the extractions of information from large data sets, they enable large-scale productions, and they stimulate innovations and accelerate the time to market. But to be an enabling technology, these platforms must not only provide processing, storage, and data capability, but they must also provide an environment that enables the use of these data. This means software tools for data handling, processing, visualizations, and analytics. Next slide, please. One of the best examples of use of this exploitation platform is the productions of global maps of human settlements by means of satellite imagery. The 2015 World Settlement Footprint was the first global maps of built-up areas produced using an entirely automatic process that exploits the temporal statistics of radar and optical data with cutting-edge machine learning techniques. It was produced by processing all Sentinel-1 and Landsat-8 imagery available, something that would not have been possible without the use of cloud platforms. Soon will be available the WSF Evolution, which will provide annual maps of 35 years of urbanization globally. Another important data set that will be released soon is the WSF 2019, which will be the first global data sets of built-up areas at 10-meter spatial resolutions and entirely based on Sentinel-1 and Sentinel-2 data. And I must say that we are also working on a WSF 3D data set, which is in preparations to have the vertical dimension on top of the urban footprint. Next slide, please. So how to harness the full potential of Earth observations, data sets, and digital technologies for the urban community. The solution we decided to follow is to go thematic and set up a collaborative online infrastructures for urban data analytics. This is what the urban thematic exploitation platforms, which is better known as the UTEP. The UTEP can be seen as an all-in-one platform for urban applications. All-in-one because it offers functionalities for data exchange, for data processing, for data analytics, and for data visualization, all this with computing and storage resources which are scalable depending on the needs. It's a place for end users who can have access to interactive tools to visualize, analyze, and derive statistics on existing data sets or even on data produced on the flight, as shown on these slides, where you can see some visualizations of urbanization patterns and on urban green areas. But it's also a place for expert users who can upload the algorithms and data and integrate them into end-to-end workflows, or even use the UrbanTAP as a back-end infrastructures through OGC standards. Next slide, please. A new functionalities that will soon be available on the UrbanTAP is the concept of city data cubes. Our data cube is a well-known and emerging technology that allows fast access in time and space to a multi-dimensional structures of heterogeneous data. In the UrbanTAP, we decided to adopt the Eurodata Cube solution. It has multiple advantages. It offers analysis-ready data from multiple data sources. It allows easy integrations of user algorithms for on-the-fly instant delivery, or even asynchronous mass processing. And it also offers the possibility to connect Jupyter notebooks to run Python codes and share it with the community. Our objective is to bring in these city data cubes a large variety of urban data layers, such as satellite data, of course, but commercial data as well, through drone imagery, climate data, citizen science data, sensor data, socioeconomic data, mobility data, all combined with advanced machine learning techniques to extract valuable information for cities. Next slide, please. How far are we from a digital twin of our cities? Well, I would say not that far. In ESA, we are just initiating a pilot project to develop a digital twin of the city of Frascati with state-of-the-art technologies that include satellite observations, of course, but also drones, street views, artificial intelligence techniques, and virtual reality. But this is another story and maybe the subject of another webinar on digital cities that we can have in the future. So with this, I'm done with my presentation, and I thank you for your attention. And over to you, Bianca.
Thank you very much, Mark. Really impressive. And I think it's worthwhile to say that the data that come from the ESA Earth observation satellites are absolutely free and openly available. So there's no cost related to that. Thanks for that. And also maybe you want to export that from Frascati to other cities. Maybe we have some interested listeners in that one to export that digital twin. We're moving on to Davide. Davide, give us an overview of the business applications, the various areas that are relevant for the digital twin cities, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Bianca, for the opportunity, and thank you for hosting us in this event. So indeed, today I will be giving you an overview of the kind of projects that the team I'm part of. So ESA Space Solution is supporting in the area of smart cities in particular. So moving to the second slide, as an overview of what ESA Space Solution is. We are a team in ESA that is primarily looking into supporting companies based in ESA member states to develop sustainable application that combines space technology with innovative technology to address any opportunity that you can think of in any strategic market. So if you go on the next slide, you will see basically the typical understanding of a space asset in our terminology, which basically is each and every combination of space technology one could possibly think of, from Earth observation data to satellite navigation to satellite communication, or even human space flight technology, and again addressing strategic opportunities across any vertical. We've been doing this since quite some time, and we have already invested more than 250 million in launching innovative services in over 1,200 companies. How do we do that? So in a nutshell, the kind of activities that we support involves an element of technical innovation, clearly, which combines and leverages space technology, possibly together with the technology breakthrough, which are maybe not necessarily associated to space, from cybersecurity to blockchain, for instance, to artificial intelligence, IoT, and increasingly in 5G. And all this technical innovation is basically then used to create innovation, business innovation, leading ultimately to positive economic impact and societal impact. We are doing this in very different ways, often in cooperation with partners, with external partners with whom we are cooperating, whereby those partners share the ambition of exploring how space technology could help them innovate their business model or becoming, for instance, more environmentally sustainable. For instance, we have cooperation in place with national governments and regulators, with European institutional actors, but also with vertical industry, international institutional actors, and also smart cities and regions. And I will be giving you some examples at the end of this slide, at the end of this presentation. So going to the next slide, how do we see the synergy between space data? Next slide, please, and circular cities. So there are an array of applications that and opportunities that could be supported by leveraging, again, space data and technology. Just to name a few, energy and water, there are opportunities and initiatives to support the rollout of innovative energy efficient solutions, such as intelligent street lighting, and just to give you an example, there are great opportunities for digitalizations for the healthcare sector and again education, and these being unfortunately quite important at the present time in the current context of COVID-19. There are opportunities for public safety relating to, for instance, again, leveraging 5G and space to support the provision of data that enables faster reaction to public safety threats. And probably one of the most, I would say, mainstream topics related to digitalization and cities is about public transport and mobility, in which, of course, there are a lot of opportunities ranging from smart parking to a digital platform to optimize the public transportation towards zero emission and towards getting, less environmental impact. In the next slide, I will give you an example of an activity that we have supported on the topic of electric vehicles and the integration of electric vehicles in the grid. So if you go to the next slide, you will see basically a map with a lot of I would say of dots. And that map basically indicates the impact, the positive impact, or kind of strategic roadmaps to create charging point units across a country. So the rationale of this project started with an understanding that basically there are the utilization of electric vehicles clearly pose constraints to the electricity grids. And has to be thought of carefully in terms of planning and balancing of the grid. One challenge is also the positioning and numbering of CPO charging point across a city. So that's typically a topic of interest for both municipalities, but also for charging point operators. So in this application, basically a company has created a platform which builds on satellite Earth observation data, primarily relating to infrastructure, road status, and many other parameters, and in situ data coming from the cities to help planning the rollout of CPOs, so charging point for charging point operators. So that's just an example of things we are doing, and similarly, this application includes also the utilization of data analytics applied to real-time video coming from the CPO to help the drivers get to the closest CPO, having the least queue and least waiting time. So again, these are innovative technologies that are basically embracing a business aspect and also delivering a positive impact to the society. In the next slide, very briefly, you'll see an example of technologies that are becoming extremely relevant at the present time. That's tele-retail that you see in the next slide. So this is a service that allows basically the provision of goods and delivery of goods to have basically unmanned transportation, delivering those goods in cities, so for urban and suburban use. There is an obvious utilization of space technology, in this case, satellite navigation to help with the journey accuracy, satellite communication as a support, a communication support to those devices, and clearly Earth observation to assist with the urban mapping. And I come to what I mentioned at the beginning of the cooperation with cities for Smart Cities project. So in the next slide, you'll just see an example of a cooperation which we have initiated with cities, in this case, in Italy. This cooperation has been, and this initiative has been branded as 5G for l'Art. It runs in cooperation with the L'Aquila and the Abruzzo region, Rome and Turin in Italy. And these focus on exploiting the use of 5G network in combination with space, addressing topics such as law enforcement, emergency response, cultural heritage, but also structural monitoring and intelligence transport. And the funding opportunity on intelligence transport has just been issued, and you'll see this in the next slide, please. And will be closing on the 14th of December 2020. So for those of you who are interested in maybe proposing an idea, this could be probably a good fit for you. So if you can move forward by 2 slides, I would like to mention another initiative which is called Space to Advance Innovation on Circular Cities. So this initiative is implemented in cooperation with NLX and looks at optimizing public transport towards zero carbon, and looking in this case at the digitalization of system, including decision support systems, which basically provides KPI indicators to optimize the service for public transport companies. But it also includes dynamic mapping of a system of infrastructure for preventive maintenance, and again looking again at lighting points, parking, but also again charging station and buildings. This is so an initiative which will be, sorry, next slide please, which will be initiating quite soon, and is planned to be open within the next 2 weeks. And in the slide number 10, next slide please, you will see an overview of the current funding opportunities which are being issued or have been issued, and there is a lot relating to digitalization and smart cities. As you can see in the next slide, we are planning a dedicated innovation initiative for digital health, but also education. And again, you see the circular cities initiative, which I just mentioned, but also proper technologies and intelligence transport, and also initiative dedicated to rural communities. And with this slide, I would like to conclude and thank you all for the opportunity. And for those of you who are interested in reaching out, you'll find my contact in the last slide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Davide, for giving us a very rich overview of all the activities ongoing, all the offerings. This brings us to the end of the presentation. We are entering the question and answer session, and I would like to turn back to the representatives from the cities. Having seen now that there's a lot of handshake between what you've done as digital cities, I would like to come back a bit to the benefits that you perceive, and I would start with you, Thomas, with a question on what are for you the greatest benefits that you see have been achieved through turning the city digital? Maybe what is the most important one that would, if somebody asks you, what's the most important thing you've achieved through being digital? What would that be? And my second question would then be, what was your main barrier in achieving that? I assume this wasn't done overnight.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, of course, we have seen the efficiency first, because to keep up all these physical services, you need to turn them into a digital one day. But there is also the satisfaction and expectations from the citizens, which is also very important. And we very much saw that benefit came out during the lockdown of the COVID period in spring, and also on the discussion at the moment that we didn't shut down our city, but we provided the services in digital way, and this was a very good benefit. But coming to the barriers of the implementation of the digital strategies, and of course what we see is that if there is a lack of trust among the people who needs this or has to use them, and of course it's a focus or the purpose of bringing in the digital strategy is not in place, the scalability of this services is not that we can achieve. So these are our insights from Tallinn.
Thank you very much. I saw Colin nodding along your answers on some of the points. Colin, can I pass those same questions to you?
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Bianca. Excuse me. So in terms of benefits, a broad range of benefits related to different outcomes across the different projects that we've delivered. I guess the highlights, though, would be environmental sustainability, quality of life, and in particular health and well-being and community empowerment. And the third would be economic. So the opportunities to engage with businesses within the city to stimulate innovation, inward investment, the economic opportunities of being innovative in this space. And the fourth one being exactly as Thomas said, efficiencies. So if you take the intelligent street lighting deployment, the business case for that was around energy savings and the ability to transform our maintenance processes from being reactive, where we actually literally wait for people to phone up to tell us we've got a broken streetlight, to having a proactive maintenance regime where we can fix streetlights before they even break. So they're the four key benefits for me in summary. But it all breaks down into more granular detail.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks very much, Michael. From your view, is it the similar things as for Tallinn and Glasgow? Or do you see different benefits? And also maybe we come back on for Darmstadt on some of the barriers you might have encountered.
Yes, mainly I can echo the statements of Thomas and Colin. What I have to say holds true for every city in the end, not only for Darmstadt. When viewed in isolation, smart city projects are pointless. They become valuable if they make the real world, the analog city, a better place. And this is where their potential lies. In Darmstadt, they can help save costs, make things quicker and easier for citizens. Therefore, citizen benefits and sustainability, are therefore the main advantages of the digital transformation of Darmstadt. But I also don't want to hide the fact that things can quickly turn into the opposite if they go in the wrong direction. I just want to mention e-commerce and the problem of parcel services that clog the streets of our residential areas. In this, the digital transformation brings with it a backpack of problems and no advantages. Sorry for that, but I'm an urban developer and I also have to pay attention to issues like this. So what are the barriers in Darmstadt? My answer may seem quite German, but I want to say, but what I want to say in the end applies to many EU countries. Data protection, personal rights, privacy, and data security are very high values for us. Nobody wants to question them. But it is, of course, the case that the regulatory framework occasionally hinders rapid implementation. This is an issue that is often more important than the question of financial resources and staff shortage. I also want to add a point Thomas already mentioned. It is the fear of change in the population within many urban development topics. This also applies to digital projects. A good example is currently the expansion of the 5G network in Germany. Part of the population has huge concerns about this. This is a challenge we have to deal with, and we have to do a lot of persuading in this regard. Thanks.
Thank you very much also for this very honest assessment that it's not all good what comes with digital. You'll have some barriers and some things that are to the other side of the coin of all the benefits that it brings. Thanks very much. Mark and Davide, listening to especially maybe to the barrier sides there, is there something that you see from space that can be brought from the various activities? We heard about the 5G networks, bringing that into the picture. What are the quick wins that you might be able to offer from space for these issues, or also where you might see other quick wins that haven't been addressed by these three presentations? Mark, may I start with you?
Yeah, if I start, I believe that this new concept of the city data cubes that I was presenting can be very attractive for the cities and would allow city authorities to embrace Earth observation technologies at a low cost with little investment on their side. These city data cubes, they have to be understood as interoperable systems that can be interconnected to the existing infrastructures and processes that cities have in place. But it's important to remember that the success of the city data cubes lies in the data availability, which should go well beyond the Earth observation data sets and the space data. It must include other data sets such as mobility data, population data, information on transport networks, urban greening, air quality, air temperatures, just to give you a few examples. And I believe that the availability in the city data cubes of a large range of data that encompass all the environmental and societal aspects of the cities will allow to explore the synergy of all these data and through the use of state-of-the-art data analytics tools to extract valuable information and take well-informed decisions. So my suggestion to our guest cities is to become an early adopter of the city data cubes, for example, in the context of the innovation challenges that was mentioned by some of our speakers. And that's something we can offer, of course, to our guest cities.
So I hope you've sparked some interest there. I see some smiling faces and nodding, so you'll be contacted after, Mark. Davide, would you like to add something from your point of view? What could be offered?
Yeah, I think building on what Mark just said, we acknowledge the challenges, and actually in my slides I spoke about technical innovation, business innovation, sustainability. So very often, I mean, the issue when it comes to smart cities, digital cities, but I would say across different verticals, is not technical innovation, but there are a number of barriers and constraints which have to be addressed. So, I mean, the tool that we offer at ESA with the different directorates and teams, I believe they offer the opportunity to showcase the benefits that this application, for instance, combining 5G, as was mentioned before, might offer to the population. So I will say it's a kind of a test bench somehow that we could use to showcase the benefit. Clearly, this does not exclude the convincing work that has to be done, for instance, on topics such as 5G, that we all know there is a massive concern by different countries about the effect that this might have. And so this part of the work, I think, has to be done. It's a convincing exercise, but I think this convincing exercise might benefit also from being able to demonstrate that, for instance, combining 5G with other kind of capabilities can deliver a positive impact to the society.
Thank you very much, Davide, for that. So I think this brings us towards the end, really, of our webinar and our seminar. I suggest please talk to each other. I think there's lots of brilliant ideas here. And to those who are listening in, may you be from industry, from startups, from other cities that you got plenty of good ideas, maybe here. Please contact our speakers here. Please get in touch with them. You might have also brilliant ideas that our panelists haven't come up with yet. So please do so. There's lots to offer from both digital cities, from space, and how they can collaborate with each other. And with that, I'm passing back to you, Donatella.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bianca. Thank you to all the speakers for this very, very interesting presentation. I see a lot of food for thought for future cooperation. So we will follow up on that for sure. Before saying bye-bye to everybody, I would like to remind to the kind people that followed us that next week, the 19th of November, we will go live with a second event dedicated this time to air quality. With that, we can close the session, and thank you again to all of you watching us, and to the speaker, and to the moderator, and to the organizer.
Thanks to you. Bye to everybody.